Welcome to Cam Look, your daily dose of the Cincinnati Art Museum. Each weekday, a staff member or volunteer will present an object from the museum's permanent collection and pose questions for discussion. Please check back each day at 10 a.m. for a new work and a new conversation. Hi, I'm Susan, a docent at the museum, and today I'd like to introduce you to Luigi Cherubini, painted by Jean Auguste Dominique Ingres in 1841. The man in the portrait is old, 81 actually. He died the year after this was completed. Born in Florence, he spent much of his life in France. Considered a child prodigy, he is best known as a composer for his operas and religious music. You can hear some playing in the background. He is surrounded in the painting by the tools of his trade: sheets of music, quill and pen. Bound copies of his most famous compositions sit on the left. The writing at the top identifies him as the director of the French Conservatory of Music and Dance. Probably the best known of directors, he served for 20 years, 1822 to 1842. His expression has been described as pensive. I thought he might just be tired. I was not surprised to learn that he had high standards and was considered by some to be crotchety. Perhaps he's not pleased with the progress of his work. Ingres and Cherubini were good friends. Ingres liked to play violin, and Cherubini was an amateur painter. Ingres thought of himself as a history painter, but as history would have it, his portraits are known as his greatest legacy. He painted a lot of them to support his family. Scenes from classical Greek and Roman history, mythology, and the Bible were classified as history paintings. Popular until the mid-1800s, they also came to include contemporary historical events. This is an example of a history painting. Ingres' way of painting, his style, is called neoclassical. It was more restrained, less imaginative and emotional than a style known as romantic. His popularity suffered as a result of his refusal to accommodate changing tastes. Perhaps comparing these two paintings is easier than an explanation. I see a very realistic depiction of an older man in this portrait. More classical trait. I also notice a limited color palette. Ingres prioritized drawing, his strength, over color. The most interesting thing I learned about this artist was that both Picasso and Matisse cite his work as influencing theirs. Perhaps it was his slightly distorted figures. This beauty's spine defies the rules of human anatomy, something Ingres termed a dreadful science. I like to know a little bit about the subject of a work of art and something about the artist when I look at a painting, how it was made, and perhaps why. What would you like to know about art in our museum?